Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Enlightened Mind. Up to now we have calculated the electric field due to uniformly charged long rod, but that length of the rod was finite. Now we will be calculating electric field when the rod is of infinite length. So basically now we will consider that the length of the rod is infinite. Okay, so suppose we have a rod here. Suppose that the rod is in this fashion or of this type, and we have a point here. Okay, suppose that point is P, but the length of this particular rod is infinite. It means that if you look at the upper part of the rod, the angle made by the upper part would be 90, and likewise lower portion would make an angle of minus 90. Okay, because its length as compared to the distance P, point P, this distance is very small. Suppose this distance is x. Okay, and this length is infinite. So again we will consider that we have a portion of this rod of length, suppose is delta y. Okay, that length is delta y, and because this is uniformly charged rod, so the so the charge on this rod of length dy would be lambda into length of the rod, which is dy. Okay, very simple. And if suppose we consider the total length is 2a, of course a is very large because we have considered the length of the rod is infinitely long. So in that case lambda could be q upon 2a, but for now we'll consider that 2 is very large. Okay, so the electric field because of this component dy at this point P would be along this direction, and that would be dE, right? And the magnitude of this dE electric field we already know should be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught delta q upon this distance square. If suppose this is the distance which is y, okay, from the center O, and this distance is x, so this distance, suppose it is suppose is this distance, so that point is m, so mp would be y square plus x squares square root. Okay, that is the distance. So the electric field at point P because of this element would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught delta q upon this distance square, so that would be y square plus x square. Okay, and that is the direction of the electric field. So again this can be resolved into two components. One is along the x-axis, which is dE along x-axis, and another would be along this axis, which is dE along y-axis. And if suppose this is the angle theta, so that should be theta. So dE along x-axis should be dE into cos theta. Likewise dE along y-axis should be dE into sin theta, right? So now we will try to calculate what is the electric field here along the x-axis first of all. So that electric field along x-axis should be integration of along x-axis of d of ex, right? So here the length is from minus infinity. Suppose length is from minus infinity to plus infinity. So when you integrate, that should be from limit should be from minus infinity to plus infinity, and that could be written as dE into cos theta, and limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. Then we will try to calculate what is its electric field. Okay, so that should be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught d of q upon x square plus y square. Okay, and we know that this cos theta is base upon hypotenuse. When this is the theta, then base is x and hypotenuse is this, so you can write x divided by y square plus x squares square root. Okay, that is very simple. Then we'll further calculate this one. So the next you can calculate that the electric field along x-axis, which is Ex, should be you can take 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught common, you can take it out, and then there is limit from minus infinity to plus infinity, because the length of the rod is infinitely long, so that should be d cube. Of course you can take x also common, because x is a constant, okay, because the distance of this point P from rod is always constant, which is x, okay, so that would be considered as a constant, so you can take that out. So the final expression could become x square plus y squares 3 by 2, right? And of course we know that dq could be written as lambda into dy, so you can take this thing also out of this expression, so that would be x upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and that is from minus infinity to plus infinity lambda into dy, x square plus y square power 3 by 2. Again here this lambda is a constant, you can take that out, so the only term that would be remaining in the inside would become dy divided by x squares plus y square 3 by 2, and all other terms you can take out, which is lambda into x upon 4 pi epsilon naught. The limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity, okay, and we know that y could be written as x into tan theta, or you can write dy could be written as x into sec square theta into d theta, okay, and then you can put these value here. Of course when everything would be converted into theta, so the limit from minus infinity to plus infinity would be converted into from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, okay, so that expression could be written as lambda into x upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and that should be x into sec square theta into d theta. I have put this value of dy here, so that is x into sec square theta upon d theta, and when you put this y is equal to x tan theta here, so that would become x power 3, okay, and that would be sec cube theta, because 1 plus tan square theta would become sec square theta, and the sec square theta of 3 by 2 would be sec cube theta, okay, and x square power 3 by 2 would be x3, okay, so some of the x would be cancelled out, okay, so the expression would become, and of course angle is from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, of course, because everything would come out except theta, okay, sec theta, so that expression would be written as lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x in the denominator, limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity, minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, and that would be cos theta into d theta, okay. Of course cos theta is an even function, so that can be written as 0 to pi by 2, and 2 would come out, so that could be written as 2 of lambda pi 4 pi epsilon naught 2 of lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x, and limited from 0 to pi by 2, and that is cos theta to d theta. Of course the integration of cos theta into d theta would become sin theta, and sin theta of pi by 2 would be 1, and sin theta of 0 is 0, so you can that would become 1, so the answer should be lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon naught into x, okay. So that is the expression of an infinitely long uniformly charged rod, okay. So let us now consider that the point P here is at the one of its edge, or one of the end of the rod, okay, so then what should be the answer? So let us now consider that this is the uniformly charged rod, okay, and now point P where the electric field is to calculate is at one of the end of the rod, and this is infinitely long, okay. So again we will consider this point of dy element, electric field would be here, that is d e along, again that would be split into two parts, one along the x-axis and other along the y-axis, okay. Now this time x and y is not cancelled out, okay, so that can be written as, now you have to really calculate what is the electric field along x-axis, that should be dE into, again which is d into cos theta, okay. as we already earlier calculated. The same way, that can be written as d of ey can be written as de sine theta, right? So I'm calculating along electric field along x-axis this time, so that should be de into cos theta, right? And limit is now, angle is from 0 to that from 0 to actually plus lambda plus infinity, because the length is along the upward side only, because here the length is 0, okay, 0 to up to infinity. So again you will put it and then you will calculate. Of course the the formula would come out to be, when you calculate this thing using the same thing, because that can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Then you write here lambda into dy, okay, then you write x square plus y square, and then 3 by 2 x, of course x would come out, and then here would be 3 by 2, and then you will integrate from 0 to infinity. When you do everything what is required, then the answer would come out to be, final answer would become lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x. That would be the answer that would we should get, okay. So likewise we have to calculate what is the electric field along y-axis, and that should be de into sine theta, right? And from again the angle is from limit is from 0 to infinity, okay. And then you put what is this one, this is perpendicular by base, perpendicular is y, because this is the y and base is x, okay, and that should be x square plus y square, okay, the root. So that would become y divided by x square plus y square plus 3 by 2. So when you integrate that particular thing, that would become 0 to infinity, and that would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and here it would be y into lambda into dy, okay, x square plus y square power 3 by 2. So that you really need to calculate. So some of the constant terms would come out, which is lambda and 4 pi epsilon naught in the denominator, and I think, okay, so other things would remain there inside the integration, and which is y into dy divided by x square plus y square power 3 by 2. So how will you do this thing? So for that thing, let us consider that x square, now let consider that x square plus y square is some variable, suppose y u square, and then you differentiate that one, that would be 2u into du, x is a constant, that would be 0, and that would be 2y into dy, okay. So y into dy can be written as u into du, because 2 would be cancelled out, and then you will put this limit here in this case, right? So that would become, because that is, we have calculated the x square plus y square, we assumed is u square, so that become u cube, okay. So that would be basically u cube, okay. And this y into dy we have calculated is u into du, so that you can write u into du, and that integration is from 0 to infinity, and other terms is lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, okay. So now you can easily do that particular thing, but the now limit is different, because now this limit was from y, for y from 0 to infinity, okay, and then we have that y is equal to here x square plus y square is basically u square. So when y was 0, what is the limit for u? So when you put here y 0, so x square is equal to u square, so you can write that u goes to x, okay. And when y is infinity, then you can write x square plus infinity square is equal to u square. So basically your u would be infinity, right? So the limit is from when you have put when you have put this y is equal to 0, so u becomes x. So limit is from x to infinity, right? Because of this, and that would be lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and that would be 1 by u square into du. Then this you really need to calculate, okay. So that would become, okay, so that would be lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and then you integrate that particular u minus 1 divided by minus 1, that should be the limit x into limit infinity, so that would be minus lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and 1 by u power is from x to infinity, okay. So when you will this put this value here, so that would be minus lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and that would be 1 by infinity minus 1 by x, okay. the limit you will put here, so that would become lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x. Okay, because this would become 0 and minus 1 by x would come out here, so the minus would become plus here. Okay, so you can say in this way that the electric field, total electric field at point P would be electric field along x-axis, which is I, unit vector is I, plus electric field along y-axis and unit vector is j. So that can be written as lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x of I plus lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught of y of x, of course, into j. Okay, so the electric field's magnitude when you calculate would be Ex square plus Ey square square root. So when you do this thing, that would become lambda divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into x square root 2. Okay, so that is the magnitude of the electric field because of the uniformly charged rod at one of the edge or the point. Okay, near one of its edge or at the point. So if you like this lecture, you can click on the like button and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you very much.